The clouds aren't the gods as I thought they'd be. My teachers work whatever every time I see. My mom is into big like she wrapped me around her rhymes when I couldn't sleep. My daddy really scary as I did.
This is my review for Sweet Lies by Rosh KH. It's a short one, short and sweet. I think this goes in favour of the song. It just leaves it to be a verse, a hook, and an outro. It keeps the topic short. It means there's no rambling. And it gets tied up at the end, so if that's what the artist intends, then that's what it is. So onto the lyrics. I think the rhythm really complements the song here. There are repeated phrases, which are almost a call and a response. Normally, one line comes in two parts. A quick front of the line, and then a slow end of the line. And what the artist does here is put the important words at the end. So each line flows, has a beginning, and then the important ending, which shows the message, is slowed down and pronounced more throughout the track. This makes it very easy to understand what's going on and what's being conveyed in the message. There are a couple of lines that maybe don't hit the nail on the head. Maybe I think they're a little bit of a stretch to squeeze in there. Like, I don't quite get the line, "My sister isn't ugly, she's just dang pretty." I understand it's he's talking about sort of lies being told about image here or something similar. But I don't like the word dang. Maybe that's my fault for being British. But this is just my preference. Maybe some of these words aren't as fitting to the rhythm and the flow as they could be. Despite that, though, a lot of the lines hit, and they hit hard. They come clear, as I said, thanks to the structure of the rhythm. I will quickly mention that there are some slight pronunciation errors and grammatical errors, but for someone who doesn't sound like they're a native English speaker, you can't be too harsh on that. At least it shows a bit of passion into someone's personal project, and that matters more than some grammatical errors. So the final hook brings it together. It sort of takes the story and gives it an obvious conclusion. The Sweet Lies, I enjoyed at that time, brought tears to my eyes, but now I'm forcing a fake smile. It's a good message, showing that lying or being false to yourself, it may be okay at the time, but it doesn't fix the problem. And I really like that. Good choice of topic. Side note, obviously songs can mean different things to different people depending on the listener and the interpretation. So if you feel something different from the track, then that's okay to be that way. If you feel something different coming from the track, that's completely fine too. That's just my interpretation. Overall, short and sweet, and the lyrics get a 7 out of 10 from me. So instrumentation here, I really like it. It's very stripped back but extremely clean. You have a really well designed 808. Which really helps bring the song through. When that's your main driving beat of the song, then getting that perfect is very important. Obviously, the main part of the arrangement is the guitar. It's very simple. It's quite easy to do this wrong, but everything is done right here in terms of that. When we bring it to the high end, there's some synth bells that come through throughout the track. They just bring a little bit of ear candy, and they're very welcomed into the arrangement. Drum pattern, again, really nice. Very quick hi-hats, but they're well put into the back, so this is okay here. The snare also in the back, these are really well used as just elements to thicken out the song, add some noise to it, and carry it forward. As I said earlier about the tempo, the drums complement that immensely, and they really keep the rhythm and the feel of the song moving forward. Final note on the drums, this again touches on the simplicity, maybe some nicer or more obvious Maybe some more obvious drum fills that bring in other parts of the kit or other bits of percussion could really help give variation to the beat. The only downside to the instrumentation is, even though it's done very well, it has extreme simplicity. It is essentially one loop used through the entire track. It's brought in nicely at the start, it exits nicely at the end, but there can't be any points awarded here for massive creativity on the arrangement and instrumentation side of things. Maybe if the bass notes were changed up a little bit, or extra harmonies were introduced into the arrangement, we may get a more interesting listening experience just to the beat in the background. There's nothing wrong with this at all. So the intro and the outro aren't extremely creative. As I said, it just brings the instruments in and takes them out at the end. There is a little bit going on with some fading and some filters to bring these elements in nicely, but nothing changed from the verse. It just comes in and goes out. In the end, it does what it came to do. It's a short track, so not much time for movement and evolving or different sections, but nothing innovative happening here, just something done well. So overall, I give it a 6 out of 10. Okay, so talking about the production and the mix, first I'll talk about the guitars. Now, there is subtly a couple of layers to the guitar that come in halfway through. I really like the attention to detail in the thickness of this. The panning is so beautifully done, it's so wide, and on such a stripped back track, the guitar is the only thing that brings a feeling of the room coming in when it comes through your headphones. So it is extremely important that these drums sound wide. The only possible issue with this is that it squeezes the vocals in slightly, as in they're being encapsulated by the guitar, which can make it sound small, which we'll touch on in a second. The guitar sounds clean, it's very clear and very nice to the ear, good quality on that one. It's a good part of the production and it brings the weight that it needs to the track. So moving on to the vocals, I like some of the doubled up in the back lines. They fit underneath the main vocals quite well, but there could be maybe a little bit more room and space given to these to give them a slightly different sound space. Not necessarily panning, but maybe a bit more reverb on it to fill the space a little bit more. So touching back onto the vocals feeling trapped. The guitars are very loud, and that's because they come in to your left and right, whereas obviously the vocals sit in the middle. One of the problems with this is I feel that the vocals are pushed a little bit quiet. They could be pushed up in the mix slightly, as they're a very important part of the track and they are the focus. It would just take a slight tweak in the space maybe to bring the guitar down a little bit and bring the vocals up. That would really help, as they are both fighting for that mid frequency range. With the mixing, there's very good distinction. Obviously less instruments, the more important it becomes to just have that distinction. You've got lows, mids and highs shared by a smaller amount of instruments. This is done well. The low end, especially your 808 and your kick at the start, there's no muddiness or anything there, so they have been blended in nicely. The mids are very strong and clean. As I said about the vocals earlier, maybe they could come through, but they're not muddy. And your high end is only filled with those nice hats and a few of those little bells. So there's nothing really to complain about there. There's a few little nice production tricks going on. I like at the end of the track, when the vocal starts panning from left to right, there's just some nice creative touches like that towards the end of the song. Not only do you have this nice sweep at the end, but also you have good filters at the start to bring everything up. You can hear it on the guitar when it goes from the intro to the verse. You are reducing the frequencies in the intro, and then you are pulling them out into the verse, which makes it sound bigger when it comes in. This is all good techniques. This area of the track was done very well. I think that My comment about the vocals is the only thing there, and there wasn't much to work with in terms of getting creative, due to the short nature of the song and the simplistic nature of the arrangement. So I give it a 7 out of 10 for the production and the mixing. So did I feel the track was original? The answer is yes. There's nothing new and exciting about the beat, but I think that it's coupled very well with the vocals, and the topic covered, the lyrics are all distinctly creative and set their own path and their own story. Again, the track's not very long. It can't evolve and grow. It's more just a statement, so maybe that originality could come through a little bit more, with a little bit more variation coming through from the artist to not just lengthen the track. That's not necessary for a song, but to change it and really show some personality there. Just to wrap things up, no video to go with this one, but there is a lyrics video with a nice animation in the background. So I like the effort that's been just put into that. It doesn't beat out some of the competition of the other tracks. So even though it's not a full video, there's obviously been a good amount of effort put into that. So it gets a little bonus from me there. This track attains 4th place in the rankings with an overall score of 6.5 out of 10.
The paths aren't the gods as I thought they'd be. My teachers swore quite every time I see